all of you for coming this evening and help us celebrate our special day, and for all the lovely gifts we have received. And now please note that any scratchies with winnings over $10 can be placed straight into the wishing well in the corner there. Thank you also to Roz, Hugh, Oliver and Edward, who in addition to Richard have always made me feel like a welcome addition to the family, usually with a glass of good wine, as has already been said, or a beer on offer, even though I don't have quite the same knowledge in cars or Formula One racing. Richard and Roz, you have been amazing parents to Libby from day one. As you have all just heard, Libby was born 3 months premature, and I've already heard these stories of how her dad in particular sat with her in the hospital by her side, nurturing her to full health. You must be immensely proud of the beautiful young woman you have brought up with your ongoing love, care and devotion. If I'm able to love and care for Libby even half as much as you have been able to, I'll know I'll be doing a pretty good job. You have also encouraged Libby to have patience and tolerance of me, which some of you may understand is quite an achievement. I'll always remember the time at Melbourne Airport where I was trying to shake off Libby so I could get tax back on a rather expensive surprise present I bought for her. I said I wanted to look at some watches and that she should go off and have a look at anything else that she wanted to buy. She wanted to stick with me. This conversation ended with Libby storming off in rather a bit of a huff. It was left to Richard and Roz to put the pieces back together and ensure that Libby was on talking terms with me when I did catch up with her later. And I'm pretty sure they've done something similar on more than one occasion. So I would therefore like to propose a toast to my new mum and dad for helping Libby and I get to where we are today.
No.
Oh, wonderful.
Richard and Roz. And to Libby's brothers, Hugh and Oliver, well, most of the stories I've heard are along the lines of Libby ending up in tears. Often at most of her birthday parties, because you two were somehow able to spoil a day, one way or another. One example that I've heard was you two standing in the second story of your house, water bombing all her guests, which ended up with Libby trying to run around the house and get dry clothes for everybody. But I'm sure that all these experiences have helped Libby build character, so thank you as well. And to my own mum, you've made it. I'm sure it's been a long journey for you, but you can now say mission accomplished. You saw me through high school, then university, usually with having to fill in the application forms while I was off away overseas somewhere. And now you can say you've finally married me off, which I'm sure you thought was going to be your biggest challenge. You've been quick to welcome Libby into our family, and I think finding somebody with medical knowledge for you to discuss medical issues with must have seemed like hitting the jackpot. Thank you as well to Gary for helping Mum through the journey in recent years. And I would also like to acknowledge my dad, Sandy, who was such a positive influence for me in my early years and who would have loved to have been here today to be able to welcome Libby into the family. Like Libby, I was also the youngest of 3 children with 2 older brothers. Growing up with competitive older brothers generally meant being beat up if you won too much, or even just rolled too many sixes in a game of Birse. Looking at you on that one, Andrew. However, it also meant having role models to follow and who have already led the way and to guide me on my journey to where I am today. My brothers have also taken on the roles of my best man and groomsman for today. Andrew, thank you for your efforts in being here, travelling all the way from London with Stephanie and Alexander, which can't have been easy. Travelling with a 2-year-old, that is, not you, Stephanie. And also for what I understand were your efforts to see me through the stag do. That's all I have to say on that. And Richard, thank you for making it from China to be here today. The bridesmaids, Amanda and Chloe, who I'm sure you would all agree are looking very lovely this evening, and we were all glad that you managed to successfully navigate walking up the aisle without any hiccups. We also know that all girls seek advice from their friends, or at the very least take heed of it if it is given, or provided unsolicited. So I'd like to thank you for helping me make today possible by giving me your tacit approval. So ladies and gentlemen, please raise your glasses as we toast the beautiful bridesmaids, Amanda and Chloe. We would also like to thank everybody else who has helped make today possible. Robin for the lovely flowers, Oggy for taking on the role as the evening's MC, Sue for helping us organise everything here at Cassels, and John, Lauren and Delwyn for photography, and apologies if there's anybody else that I may have missed. Now, of course, my lovely wife. Libby and I would have first met at senior college, as was just discussed, where we were both in the same 7th form early modern England history class. The only problem, Libby was far too busy working hard to obtain grades good enough to get into med school, while I was probably just what some might consider a 17-year-old brat. We hardly noticed each other. However, when our paths were to cross again some 10 or so years later, with Libby no longer focused on studies and myself hopefully a little bit more mature, we didn't let opportunity slip us by. Libby is beautiful, and none more so than tonight in her lovely dress. Intelligent, talented and witty. She is able to achieve anything she sets her mind to. Her habit of making lunches for her dad to take to work has converted into making lunches for me to take to work. Thanks once again for that one, Richard. She loves baking and cooks amazing dinners. In fact, if you delve into your favourite bags, you'll all find an example of Libby's baking. Okay, she's spent a long time the last few days baking all of those little Armoretti biscuits. By the way, these are gluten-free and dairy-free. She loves animals, adores her little nephew, and is kind and caring to all those she comes across. In short, she is absolutely perfect. Libby, I cherish everything we are able to do together. From the everyday of being able to sit down together over a meal and a glass of wine, or walking and brunching with your parents' little miniature schnauzer, Elliot, who I would like to mention has also made me feel like a very welcome member of the family. Right through to less regular tramping trips or other trips around the country together, which normally involve visiting a few wineries. And right through to exploring foreign countries together. Your company makes everything more enjoyable. You are my best friend, and I couldn't imagine not having you by my side. I love you, and I'm incredibly lucky to be able to call you my wife. So finally, I would like to propose a toast to my lovely wife, and the bride and the star of the evening. Thank you for being my perfect match. To Libby.
To Libby.
So, without further ado, I'd like to hand over to my best man. I'm not sure if I mentioned, but he is in fact my much older brother. So just bear that in mind. His memory might be a little hazy. So take any stories he has to say with a pinch of salt.